All right, so today we're diving into some seriously magical territory.
Yeah, definitely a little different from our usual stuff.
Right. I mean, picture this. A massive glowing tree, like seriously huge, branches reaching for the sky, trunk covered in these ancient runes that just shimmer.
Sounds impressive.
Oh, it is. But here's the kicker. The leaves change color depending on the magical vibes of the whole land.
Like a mood ring for an entire world.
Basically, yeah. And this incredible tree is the great tree of Lumiin. It's the heart and soul of this magical land we're going to be exploring.
And all from just these two sources. Pretty wild.
It is. We've got excerpts from copyright FairyFrens compressed.pdf, and this other piece simply titled Pasted Text.
Okay, so two very different sources. Should be interesting to see how they line up.
Exactly. And for those of you listening, think of this deep dive as your express ticket to understanding Lumiin. We're not getting lost in all the cosmic details of the wider world. We're laser focused on the great tree.
Makes sense. If this tree is the heart of Lumin, then understanding it is key to understanding the whole place.
You got it. So our mission today is to figure out exactly why this one tree is so vital to Lumiin. All right, so let's start with the basics. We've already talked about the size and the glowing branches.
But there's got to be more to it than just looking cool.
Oh, way more. It's not just big. Those runes on the trunk, they actually glow with this iridescent light, almost like the tree is telling its story in light.
Like some kind of magical language written right on its bark. Cool.
And then the branches, they're not just green, think emerald, sapphire. It's like this vibrant life force is just flowing through them.
It really makes you think about how the sources describe these details. They're not just random. They seem deliberate, like each color choice has meaning.
Yeah, totally. And the leaves, forget about it. They're like a mood ring for the entire realm. When things are good, like super harmonious, a state they call FA3 in the sources, the leaves are this incredible, vivid green.
Sounds peaceful.
It is. But if things get shaky, the leaves turn this dull gray.
Like a warning sign.
Right. And when things get really bad, like those leylines get messed with.
Leylines.
They're like these energy pathways that connect everything in Lumiin, kind of like its veins and arteries.
Gotcha.
So when those get messed up, the tree's leaves, they flare up red like fire.
So this tree isn't just pretty. It's a living barometer for Lumin's magical health.
You nailed it. And speaking of connection, we got to talk about those roots. They're described as twisting deep into the earth, like holding the whole world together.
It makes sense if it's drawing on that leyline energy.
Exactly. It's not just about physical stability. It's like the tree is tapping into the planet's very essence. It's grounding itself and in turn grounding all the magic in Lumiin.
So it's more than just a landmark. It's like the anchor for the whole magical system.
Totally. This great tree, it's described as the sentient heart of Lumiin. It's the source of all the magic there.
That's pretty mind-blowing. Imagine one single being the source of all that power.
I know, right? And it doesn't just pump out magic like some factory. It's described as the keeper of balance and the first root.
Those names really highlight its importance, sir.
Yeah, they're not just catchy titles. They're literally describing its role in keeping Lumiin stable, being the origin point for everything magical there.
So how does it communicate with the rest of the world? I mean, if it's the source of magic and a living being.
It doesn't use words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the sources describe its communication as these subtle pulses of energy, almost like feelings that resonate through the land. It can also send visions to certain individuals, and sometimes it even uses shifts in the environment itself as a way to talk.
Wow, that's so different from how we usually think of communication. But it makes sense. This is a being of pure energy and magic.
Right, and it has this silent authority, this ancient wisdom. It's like wisdom is woven into its very being.
Which means the inhabitants of Lumin must be pretty tuned in to their surroundings to pick up on those cues.
Oh, absolutely. And the sources make it clear that the people of Lumin don't just respect the great tree, they revere it. It's a symbol of their history, their magic, their connection to nature.
It's like their version of a religious figure, maybe?
Yeah, in a way. So how did this amazing tree come to be? Well, the legends say it sprouted from the very first spark of magic in their solar system.
Wow. Talk about going back to the very beginning.
I know, right? And get this, it wasn't just sunlight that nourished it. It was the combined energy of all three suns in their system. Solara, Noctis, and Ignis.
3 suns.
That's tense, right?
Yeah, it makes our little solar system seem pretty tame.
Yeah, Lumin definitely exists on another level. So as this great tree grew, it witnessed everything that happened in Lumin. The rise and fall of queens, the 4 clans, The Daughters of the Mist, Willow Warriors, the Fairy Guard, and Mystic Maidens, all their dramas, their conflicts, everything.
Like a living, breathing history book.
Exactly. It even saw Panowin, this figure who messed with the OR grid, which is...
Wait, the OR grid. Isn't that those ley lines we were talking about before?
Yeah. So the Great Tree witnessed Panowin tampering with those crucial energy pathways.
That sounds like a pretty big deal, considering how important those ley lines are.
Huge deal. And speaking of the OR grid and its protectors, there's this clan, the Willow Warriors, who live in treedom, the forest surrounding the Great Tree.
Ah, so they're like the first line of defense for the Great Tree.
You got it. They work directly with these beings called the Grid Guardians to protect the tree and, get this, the flow of time itself.
Whoa, hold on. The flow of time.
Yeah, it's all connected somehow. So this tree, it's not just a local power source, it's tied to the very fabric of their reality.
Okay, this is getting deep. So we know the Great Tree is super old, super important, and can communicate in these really unique ways. But what can it actually do? What are its powers?
That's the juicy part. The first one is its role as a leyline anchor. Remember, those ley lines, those energy pathways, are vital for Lumiin.
Like the circulatory system of the whole land, right?
Exactly. Well, the Great Tree's roots, they actually stabilize this whole network. Imagine it like the central hub of a giant energy web, keeping everything flowing smoothly.
Makes sense, considering how connected it is to everything.
But here's the thing. Any disruption to the ley lines directly affects the tree. The sources talk about branches fracturing, roots pulling back from the earth when that happens.
Ouch. So it's not just an inconvenience. It's like the tree feels the pain of that disruption.
Exactly. And it doesn't just anchor the energy, it also acts as an energy conduit. It channels and amplifies all that natural energy, making it available for healing, nurturing the land, keeping everyone alive and kicking.
So it's like the heart pumping that lifeblood throughout Lumiin.
You got it. But wait, there's more. The Great Tree also has this power called temporal insight. It can, see into different timelines, offer prophetic visions.
Hold on. Time travel, is that what we're talking about here?
Not exactly travel, more like glimpses, but it can see potential futures, offer warnings, maybe even guide the destiny of Lumiin.
That's a lot of responsibility for one tree.
Oh, for sure. And it doesn't stop there. The Great Tree can also sense individuals who are worthy of being leaders, whether it's a queen or a guardian. In fact, the current ruler, Queen Faye, who's trying to unite all 4 clans, was apparently chosen by the tree.
So it influences the political landscape, too. It really is at the center of everything.
It is. And finally, this might be my favorite, the Great Tree serves as a symbol of unity. Those constantly shifting leaves, that radiant glow, they represent the need for balance, for harmony between the clans.
It's like a visual reminder of what they should be striving for.
Exactly. So if the tree is healthy and vibrant, it means Lumiin is in a good place, with everyone working together.
The tree's well-being reflects the well-being of the whole land. It's pretty poetic when you think about it.
Absolutely. So that's the Great Tree of Lumiin, a massive magical being connected to everything and everyone. What a fascinating image.
Totally. It really makes you think about the power of nature, the interconnectedness of things.
Okay, so before we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways about this incredible tree.
All right, so the Great Tree is the source of all magic in Lumiin. It stabilizes their entire energy network. It can see into the future. It chooses their leaders, and it's a symbol of unity for the entire realm. Did I miss anything?
Nope, that's it. And, thinking about all this, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If the tree is this deeply connected to everything, are there other ways its health affects the 4 clans?
Yeah, good point. We only have a limited view from these sources.
Right. And remember Panowin and how he messed with the OR grid? What if those actions have consequences beyond just disrupting the energy flow? What if they directly harm the Great Tree itself?
Yeah, if the tree is connected to the flow of time, messing with that could have some really unpredictable consequences.
Exactly. It really makes you think about the potential ripple effects of actions, both big and small.
And the potential vulnerability of something so powerful.
Right. It's a lot to consider, that's for sure.
Definitely gives us a lot to think about.
Well, that's our deep dive into the Great Tree of Lumiin. We'll be back next time with another fascinating look at. Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Well, until then.